Dust has settled on the glass where you threw your keys. I'm still down here, static on my hands and on my knees. I haven't moved the chair, I haven't changed the locks. I'm just a collection of memories in a cardboard box. The neighbors ask if I've been out, I tell them yeah, I'm fine, while I'm tracing the jagged edge of where you drew the line. You walked out the door and took the oxygen away. Now I'm just a monument to a cold and bitter day. I tried to glue the pieces back, but the edges didn't fit. There's a hole in the center where the candle used to be lit. I'm a map with no legend, I'm a compass with no north, just a ghost in the hallway pacing back and forth. You're out there building bridges, you're out there seeing stars, while I'm still counting the minutes and the fresh and silver scars. It's a special kind of stagnant, it's a special kind of slow, to be the only thing that died and hell says to God. And they say the world keeps turning, but the sun is gonna rise. But it's hard to see the morning with these heavy, hollow eyes. I'm leaning off the ledge of every how it used to be, waiting for the gravity to finish what you started with me. And I broke you where you left me, like a rock on the side, waiting for a welcome, by the time it's time to die. The world is moving forward, but I'm frozen in the cracks, trying to build a future out of everything I love. Yeah, broken where you left me, in the dark, in the cold. A story that's been finished, but is still being told. I saw your car at the light, you didn't even look. You were singing to the radio, reading a different book. And it killed me just to see you looking so dim-light, while I'm still suffocating in the middle of the night. You're not a villain, and you're not the one to blame, but it's pointless, 'cause you've managed to forget my name, while I'm still sitting in the wreckage of the half-sweet crew. The hardest part of staying is that I'm just stuck on you. Break me up, break me down, throw me in the fire. You were writing scripture on the features of my face. Always was the anchor, and forever was the chain. But the middle was just plastic painted over for the rain. I built my world on a sentence that was written in the sand, while you were already looking for a different piece of land. It's a special kind of violence, it's a special kind of theft, to take the future with you and leave the never left. I see the word in every cracked and dirty window pane, a hollow point reminder of a life that's down the drain. You used it as a shield, and you used it as a drug, to keep me standing steady while you pulled the heavy rug. Now the clocks are all broken and the calendars are torn, mourning for a version of a love that wasn't born. It wasn't a mistake, and it wasn't a mistake of the heart. It was a calculated ending, right before the start. And they say that the truth is what finally sets you free, but the truth is just a ghost that is haunting you and me. I'm leading off the lies of every promise that you made, watching us forever finally start to fade. I'm screaming at the sky, this forever was a lie. Keep repeating always, that was never rectified. The world is turning forward, but I'm buried in the stone. Sitting on the wreckage of a life I never know. Yeah, forever was a lie, and was a weapon in that time. Perhaps the chain that suffocated every single spark. I saw you yesterday, you were saying it again, to someone who was listening like a long lost holy friend. The same tilt of the head, the same tremor in the tone, like you've never spent a minute feeling hollow or alone. And it killed me just to realize that the word is just a sound, the handful of dirt that you're throwing on the ground. I wasn't your always, I was just your right now, a chapter you were finished with before you took the bow. Break the vow, tear the page. I'm a prisoner forever in a rusted iron cage. It's a writing, it's a rap, it's a fire in your phone. I'm drowning in the water of a sinking wooden boat. Let it crash, let it burn, let the ceiling fall. Forever is the longest, nothing of the as if forever was a lie. I was screaming at the sky, this forever was a lie. A paper thin and always that was sound of two hearts that couldn't stay together. Inside my chest and pulled the light right from the bone, just to make sure that your shadow never had to feel alone. I traded in my oxygen to keep your fires high. I was the earth beneath your feet, I was your open sky. I let my own dreams gather dust upon the higher shelf, while I was busy building up a version of yourself. I didn't have a boundary, I didn't have a wall. I was a masterpiece of giving until I had nothing at all. I ignored the hollow ache, I ignored the inner scream. I was the sadly architect of someone else's dream. I gave you my best years, I gave you my last breath. I loved you through the hunger, and I loved you to the death. I was the well that never ended, the spring that never dried, while I was slowly evaporating on me inside. Now I'm looking in the mirror, and I don't know who I see, just a ghost of a man who used to be me. They say that sacrifice is how you find the light, but everybody but the sun in the middle of the night. I'm leaning out the ledge of everything for you, waiting for the comedy to tell me what is true. And I gave you everything till the well ran dry. I gave you the always, and I gave you the way. The world is already forward, but I'm a hollow shell, standing in the middle of a self-inflicted hell. Yeah, I gave you everything, and I paid the highest price, burning down my kingdom just to keep you on my eyes. I saw you yesterday, you looked complete, like you never felt the pavement or the coldness of defeat. And it killed me just to realize that you never even asked for me to wear the armor or to take on the task I did to myself. I was the warrior who held the knife, I traded my heartbeat just to give you more life. And now you watch me scanning, and you're looking at the stars, while I'm still never No, I'm just a stranger chasing what is left. My knuckles are white and my palms are bleeding out. I've been gripping a ghost just to settle the doubt. The rope is frayed and the fibers are thin, but I'm still pulling on a war I'll never win. The ship went down in the middle of the night, but I'm still treading water, waiting for the light. The world moved on, they all headed for the shore, while I'm still guarding a house with no floor. But I stayed in the garden, waiting for the snow. I ignored the warnings, I ignored the signs. I spent my life reading between the dead lines. Now my arms are heavy and my spirit is spent, trying to pay for a love that was only a rent. It's a special kind of hell, a self-made cage, refusing to turn to the very last page. And they say that the brave are the ones who stay, but the cowards are the ones who can't walk away. I'm made for two, I'm never gonna dragging me down, building a life in a ghost of a town. And I held too long until my hands turned to stone. I built a cathedral just to sit here alone. The fire's been out, but I'm still locking the close. Now the emptiness swallows the rest of our souls. Yeah, I held on too long, and I'll miss the last train. I'm a master of nothing, with the ghost of the pain. I saw you today. You were wearing that smile, the one that says you haven't thought of me. For a while you looked lighter, like you shed a heavy skin, while I'm still wearing the ice that I'm drowning in. Our fingers are left in the blur and that clutch, sitting alone on a till my hands turn to stone. I built a cathedral just to sit here alone. The fire's been out, but I'm still hugging it close. All the emptiness swallows the rest of our soul. They said I'd held out too long, and I've missed the last train. I'm the master of nothing but the ghost of the pain. My hands are open now, but they're empty. It's so empty. I stayed too long, and now there's nothing left to save. Stayed in the darkness so that you could have the light. I carved out my center just to give you more room. I was the winter just to watch you start to bloom. I stopped counting my heartbeats and started counting yours. I closed all my windows and I locked all my doors. I was a masterpiece of giving everything away. I'm just a hollow shell on a cold and bitter day. I ignored the warnings and I silenced every doubt. I poured myself into you until the well ran out. I forgot my own name and the rhythm of your voice. I didn't have a boundary, I didn't have a size. I built you a kingdom out of pieces of my pride, while I was shrinking down to nothing on the inside. It's a special kind of bankruptcy, it's special kind of day to realize I'm the only person that I haven't met yet. And they say that sacrifice is the highest form of grace, but I've disappeared completely without leaving a trace. I'm leading off the ledge of everything's for you. never felt a tremor in the fabric of your soul. And it killed me just to realize that you didn't even ask for me to wear the burden or to take on the task. I did it to myself. I was the one who held my life. I traded my pulse just to give you my life. But now you're walking scared and you're looking at the stars. While I still memorizing my own eternal scars. Give it back the years in the past. I'm tired of this living that feels a lot like death. It's so right, it's so bad, it's so hard, tearing in the storm. I'm terrified of being with myself up here right on. Break the cage, let me out, let the lead find me free. I'm more than just a shadow that you decided to leave. Now I have to find where I end and you start. I was looking at a photograph from 3 years ago today. Before the colors started bleeding, before the light turned gray. We were leaning on a fence post, laughing at a joke. Before they always started fading, before the promise broke. I don't miss the way it ended, the shouting or the cold. I don't miss the bitter stories that we both already told. But I miss the two people who didn't know the cost. The ones who were searching for everything they lost. I miss the way you looked at me when the world was standing still. Before we found the bottom of the long and lonely hill. We were fearless, we were reckless, we were golden, we were young, with the taste of a forever sitting heavy on our tongue. Now I look into the mirror and I don't know who I see. Just a tired, hollow version of who I used to be. And I saw you at the market, looking steady, looking new. But you're just a stranger wearing the skin of someone It's the way I used to feel back when the magic was a little more than real. Before the I love you's turned into a weapon in the dark. Before we blew the oxygen on a dying jagged spark. I'm mourning for the versions of us that didn't make it through. The ones who didn't know how much I'd end up losing you. It's a special kind of lonely. It's a special kind of grief. To be the only one who still believes a lie, who's still alive. I don't miss the end, I don't miss the pain. I just miss the eyes before the heavy rain. She took hold on the left, so I'm huddled on the right, tracing the shape of the ghost that stays the night. I don't turn off the lamp, I can't stand the sudden black. It's the only way I trick my mind into thinking you're back. I'm breathing in the fabric where your scent is starting to fade. A slow motion funeral in the bed that we both made. I'm a master of the maybe, I'm a student of the dark, living in the ashes of a long extinguished spark. I pull the duvet higher, trying to find your warmth, but the compass of this bedroom is no longer pointing north. I've memorized the rhythm of your breathing in my head. Now I'm just a pilot flying solo in this bed. The ceiling is a cinema playing highlights of the past, moments that were beautiful but never meant to last. I'm waking up at 3 a.m. just to reach for your hands, only to find the desert where we used to hold the land. out the colors of our neon heavy nights. I have to pack the pillows, I have to face the day, I have to act like half of me didn't simply walk away. But tonight I come back here to this quiet padded cell, and I'm tied back into the middle of this familiar hell. Because the truth is I'm terrified of waking up one day and realizing the memory is finally slipped away. Don't fade, don't go, don't leave me in the light. I'd rather have the haunting than the hollow of the night. It's a riot, it's a wreck, it's a war inside the room. I'm taking up the body just to find a little blow. We've been done, I've been done, I've been done. Just say I'm not ready to be lonely in the light of day. Where's your memory? Like a blade against my chest, flying down the sphere just to give the heart a rest. The world is turning for red, but I'm frozen in machines, laughing out the version of a love that didn't run dry. Said I'm safe with your memory. It's a empty, hollow waste. The only way I'm found on is empty space. Close my eyes, trace the ghost, the lost. The neighbors think I've moved, the windows are all dark. I'm just a silhouette waiting for a spark. I've mastered the art of the ghost in the room, living in the silence of a house in total bloom. Of shadows and echoes and the dust on the shelf, I'm learning how to be a stranger to myself. The world is getting louder, pushing through the glass, while I'm just a witness, watching the minutes pass. I bought a loaf of bread, I poured a glass of wine, acting like the after is a place where I'm doing fine. But the coffee's getting cold and the clock is standing still, and I'm still staring at the top of the hill. Where we said we build a life, where we said we grow old. Now I'm just a story that doesn't want to be told. It's a special kind of gravity, a special kind of fear, to realize the world is turning and I'm still here. They say the horizon is where the light begins to show, but I'll make it to the bottom where the current is slow. Only enough to let of everything we used to be, waiting for the siren clever queen in a brand new town. No more circles under your eyes, no more waiting it's dry. Well, I'm still carrying the ice that died on the inside. It's a quiet kind of fire, it's to see you doing well. Well, I'm still the only resident in this private hell. I'm not waiting for a sorry, and I'm not waiting for a call. I'm just waiting for the day I don't feel nothing at all. Move the mountain, break the door. I can hear the sound of my heart on the floor. It's a riot, it's a wreck. It's a heart turning to stone. I'm terrified of being this version of alone. Break the glass, let it bleed. Let the soul run free. I'm screaming at the empty because I'm still here. And I'm still here without you, like a stone in the rain, a burning monument, so a temporary gain. The world is turning forward, but we're frozen in the cracks, building a future out of everything I love. I said I'm still here without you, in the dark and the cold. A story that's been finished, but it's still being told. In the room we made, watching the memory finally start to fade. It wouldn't be a scream, and it wouldn't be a shout. You'd be the sound of a candle when the air runs out. The subtle silver sliding of a ring across the wood, the snapping of a promise that we said would hold for good. It's the hum of the friends in a room where nobody talks, the clicking of the pebbles in the driveway when she walks. It's the heavy hollow thud of a book being closed for the last time, the rhythmic jagged static of a heart that's lost its rhyme. If goodbye had a voice, it would sound like a winter wind, rattling the windows of the places where we sinned. It's the screech of the subway when it's grinding to a halt, the pouring of the water into a jagged light of salt. I'm listening to the silence, and it's deafening my ears, a frequency of failure that's been building up for years. It's the sound of the ghost in the machine that's finally died, leaving nothing but the echo of the things we kept inside. And the quiet is a monster, and it's living in the hole, tracing every shadow that is dancing on the wall. I lean in until the vibration of the end, waiting for the free in a city that hasn't been built yet, with a name I don't know and a face I haven't met. But there's a pull in my chest, like a ghost on a wire, a slow burning coal from a long forgotten fire. I've walked these halls in a dozen different skins, losing the battle before the war even begins. But I'd recognize your pulse in a crowded, silent room, like a wildflower breaking through a desert in bloom. In the dust of the desert, in the rain of the coast, I'm a permanent traveler, and you're my only host. Maybe we were royalty, maybe we were dirt, maybe we were healers, or the cause of all the hurt. The calendar's changed and the empire's all the sand, but I'm still reaching out for the ghost of your hand. It's a beautiful torture, that circle we run, chasing the moon while we wait for the sun. And the universe is vast, and the stars are all blind, but I'm tearing through the fabric just to see what I find. I'll lean it on the edge of every century we know, waiting for the gravity to bring me back home. And I'll find you and never let it sink. In every breath I take, I'll follow the echo of every heart that we break. The world is unraveling, but I'm holding the thread. Sunshines on the wires, can a reborn rise? I have fallen through time, just to get back to you, while you're running through one I saw you in the supermarket just an hour ago. You didn't look up, and you didn't even know that we've died together 1,000 times before, on a sinking ship or a forgotten floor. You've got that look of someone who's finally at peace, say always feels like built this house on a foundation of someday, watching the cracks grow while we looked the other way. I gave you my marrow, I gave you my breath. I loved you through the hunger, I loved you to death. We had the passion, we had the silver and the gold, but the walls started shaking from the weight of the cold. It's the cruelest lesson that I've ever had to learn. It's you can provide the spark and still watch the whole thing burn. I tried to stitch the seams with the threads of my pride, but there's a hollow in the center where the light used to hide. You can't fix a ghost with a sorry or a kiss, and you can't build a bridge over an endless abyss. We were two stars colliding, a beautiful mess, but the gravity was too much. I had to confess that intention is nothing when the oxygen is gone, and forever is a heavy coat to keep putting on. And I saw that the spirit can conquer the fear, but the spirit is silent. I'm drowning in it. I'm standing in the wreckage of the best thing I've done, realizing the battle was lost before it was won. Because love wasn't enough to keep us sailing from falling. Love wasn't enough to hear the destiny calling. We threw our horses on the fire, thinking we'd survive the heat, but now we're just two strangers bleeding out in the street. Yeah, love wasn't enough, it was just a beautiful lie, a paper thin wine that wasn't life for the sky. I saw your suitcase by the door, looking so small. All those years of always packed against the wall. It's not for lack of trying, it's not for lack of tears. It's just a slow erosion of 1,000 quiet fears. You're looking at me with a hole in your chest, and I'm realizing that trying was just a cruel test. We run out of mercy, we run out of please. Now we're just two survivors brought down to our knees. It wasn't enough. We give it everything and everything just wasn't enough. The kettle screaming in the kitchen, but I let it burn. I'm still memorizing lessons I should have had to unlearn. The floorboards ache beneath me, echoing your name, while I'm sitting in the kitchen trying to find someone to blame. I keep the porch light on, a habit I can't break, giving shelter to the ghost of every choice we didn't make. I saw your coat inside the closet, and I couldn't move the sleeve. It's the only part of us that hasn't found a way to leave. The city's getting louder, pushing people through the streets, but I'm a record that is skipping, stuck on bitter hollow beats. You're 1,000 miles of maybe, I'm a literal too late, just a shadow in the doorway of a house that's filled with weight. And they say the fire dies if you don't give it any air, but I'll suffocate slowly just to keep the embers there. I'm leading off the ledge of every how we used to be, waiting for the gravity to finally finish me. I'm still falling for you, like a stone into the deed, bound to all the broken words you didn't mean to keep. The world is starting forward, but I'm screaming at the sun, trying to find the finish line before the race began. Yeah, I'm still falling for you, crashing down into the bowl where you're already standing on the ground that's fresh and new. Saw you at the station, you were looking at your phone. You had that look of someone who is happy being alone. No more tension in your shoulders, no more tremor in your light. You finally found a secret to a peaceful sleep at night. And it's the loneliest of poisons just to see you doing fine, while I'm still drinking down the ghost of everything that's mine. Is there a way you want love? Is there a way you want to know? To take the roots out of the dirt and just let the garden go. I'm the star that's turning black, I'm the hunger and the lack, I'm the only one who's waiting for a train that's off the track. Then I'll don't know who I am if I'm not falling anymore. I'm the master of the how are you, and they have been doing fine. I've learned to keep the trembling from crossing over the line. I see you across the coffee shop or walking down the street, and I bury every memory beneath my heavy feet. I'm a vault of secrets, I'm a locked and bolted door. I don't let beyond misuse touch the cold and dusty floor. My tongue is a soldier guarding a bridge that's been burned, hiding every lesson that my heart has never learned. I write your name in the steam on the window of the car, then I wipe it away before the feeling goes too far. I'm still memorizing the way you tilt your head when you laugh, but I'm keeping it hidden in a mental photograph. The world thinks I've moved on, they think I'm standing tall, but I'm just a shadow leaning up against a crumbling wall. It's a quiet kind of violence, it's a dignified despair, to act like you're a stranger when you're my only prayer. And they say the words you don't say are the ones that weigh the most. I'm carrying a mountain while I'm chasing after your ghost. I'm leading into the quiet of every how we used to be, waiting for the silence to finally bury me. And I'm still loving you in silence, like a scream inside a dream, tearing through the fabric at every single seam. The world is turning forward, but I'm frozen in the dark, cutting the ashes of the long extinguished spark. I'm still loving you in silence, it's a time for me to tell me that the things are 6 feet underground. I saw you with them yesterday, I didn't make a sound. I just watched the way the sunlight, the shadow on the ground. I didn't let my eyes go soft, I didn't let my spirit break. I just added one more layer to the mask I have to make. It's a lonely kind of royalty, this crown of doing well, while I'm living in the middle of uptight and quiet hell. You'll never know the storm, you'll never feel the rain. I become a bird that's not There's no warning in the weather, no shifting in the light, just a sudden heavy shadow in the middle of the night. I was fine 10 minutes ago, I was holding up the wall, but then I heard a song or saw a shadow in the hall. Now the salt is on my tongue and the heat is in my chest. A sudden violent visit from a long forgotten guest. You don't need a reason when the floor begins to slide. It's just the overflow of everything I tried to hide. I could blame the weather, I could blame the empty bed, I could blame the ghosts that are living in my head. But grief is like a tide that doesn't care about the shore. It doesn't need a key to get through a locked and bolted door. 1 minute I'm a mountain, the next I'm just the rain. A sudden jagged frequency, here we go again. It's the body keeping score of the things the mind forgot. The silent heavy pulling of a tight and tangled knot. And they say that logic is the way to find the light. It isn't the screaming, and it isn't let's overcall. It's the way your shadow still dances on the bedroom wall. It's the phantom vibration of a phone that never rings, the jagged silent edges of 1,000 little things. I'm sitting at the table, pouring water for two. Habit is a poison when I'm trying to unknow you. The worst kind of empty isn't being on your own. It's the space you left behind that makes me feel alone. I can handle the anger, I can handle the bitter taste, but I can't handle the silence of all this wasted space. The hours of your day that I'm forced to swallow back, the sudden heavy realization of everything I lack. I saw a movie yesterday and turned Italian apart. Don't wanna wear the hero finally follows his heart. And the air where you should be was so cold and so thin. It felt like a needle sinking under my skin. And they say the heart is a muscle that it's gotta learn to flex, but I'm just a wreck waiting for what happens next. I'm leaning off the ledge of every used to be, waiting for the gravity to fall that's in us now. And that's the loneliest part of love, when the light is gone. But the always in your spirit keeps showing and carry on. The world is turning forward, but I'm frozen in the dark. Caught in a kingdom that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, it's the loneliest part of love. It's a deafening roar, the ghost of a welcome on a locked and bolted door. I saw you at the station, you were looking at your watch. That time was something you were finally allowed to catch. You looked like a stranger, but you looked free. And that's the loneliest part of love, that it wasn't for me. It's realizing haunted door. The liveliest part. That's why we were leaning on the velvet, we were reaching for the crown. 2 seconds from the summit, before the sky came crashing down. The invitations were unwritten, the house was just a sketch, a beautiful mirage that my hands could never fetch. We had the map spread on the table, the ink was barely dry, mapping out the always under a blue and infinite sky. But the clock didn't tick, it just stopped in the dark, right at the edge of the flame, right before the final spark. I see the ghosts of our children in the way the shadows lean. A whole world of maybe trapped in the spaces in between. We weren't a slow erosion, we weren't a gradual decay. We were a lightning bolt that decided not to stay. It's the tragedy of almost, the violence of new, the sound of a future that's too quiet to hear. We were a heartbeat away from the rest of our lives. Now I'm just cutting my hands on the could have been knife. And they say it's better to have tasted the life than to never have known the stars in the night. But I'm staring at the cliff where we were meant to fly, watching the almost wave us goodbye. And we almost had forever, we were a breath away. The sun was just blazing on a golden day. Now I'm standing in the ruins of the plans that we made, placing the colors of our someday fate. And we almost had forever, it was right in our hands. Now it's just a handful, those cold shifting sands. I passed that little chapel on the corner of the park, the one we joked about when we were walking in the dark. I felt the weight of the ring that I never got to buy, and the weight of the andrew that turned into a wise. Special kind of memory for a life that wasn't meant for the apologies and promises we never got to give. We were 99% of the rays of the moon, but the gravity sold us a minute to say. One more sentence, one more hit, the kind of pain that we were right there. I can still feel the almost in the cold morning air. It wasn't a crash, it wasn't a sudden sound. It was the quiet, heavy sinking of the holy ground. A thread they pulled for years before it finally snapped. A slow motion exit from a life where we were trapped. I watched the light go out of your eyes in tiny jagged bits, like a candle in a room where the oxygen just quit. We were dying in the daylight, we were fading in the sun, long before the it's over had ever even begun. We practiced the sirens like a language we both knew, until the me and the you were all that we could do. The kisses got shorter, the I love yous got thin. A slow erosion of the skin that we were in. I saw the cracks in the ceiling, I saw the dust on the floor, but I kept locked eye, tearing to the handle of the door. It's a special kind of torture, a special kind of slow, to watch the person that you love slowly let you go. And they say the end is a cliff for sudden vertical drop, but we were just a record waiting for the spin to stop. Believe lost the legs of every how did we get here, watching the always suddenly start to disappear. And we broke in slow motion like a ship against the reef. A long drawn out hunger, a crying heavy breath. The world is suddenly forward, but I'm frozen in the fall, watching the earth turn into nothing at all. Yeah, we broke in slow motion, hands ourselves we flame. The flow cold extinguisher of the final dragon flame. I saw you today, you looked like you'd finally arrived, like you were more than just a person who'd somehow survive. And it killed me just to realize that the break-in was the key to the prison that you needed, to finally be free. I'm still falling through the air, I'm still waiting for the grab, while you're already walking through a sea. You were falling, going in a place we didn't go out in a light, we just slowly glassed off. It's still the little of the night. Speed it up, letting crash, let the floor finally hit. I'm tired of the maybe and the that makes the universe flames. In a sky that wasn't ours, trying to plant a garden in a field of meteor showers. I had my bags packed for a life I haven't started yet. You were still untangling the ghost of a past regret. The chemistry was perfect, but timing was a crime. A beautiful melody played at the worst possible time. We held the match together, but the wood was soaking wet, left with a someday that we haven't reached yet. If I met you in the future or 1,000 years ago, we'd be sitting by a fire instead of standing in the snow. But the world was moving faster than our hearts could ever go, and the knot right now is the hardest seed to grow. I saw you at the station, looking steady, looking new, with a life that's finally ready, but it isn't for me and you. It's the tragedy of almost, the violence of near, the right person in the wrong hemisphere. And they say the universe is precisely what it does, but it feels like a hollow joke when I think of what we was. There's a gaping hole. The keys are on the counter, but the door don't feel the same. The walls have stopped reflecting the echo of your name. I'm walking through these rooms like a trespasser in the dark, searching for a heartbeat, searching for a spark. But the foundation is shifting and the roof is caving in. I'm a stranger to the shelter of the life that I was in. I used to find my gravity just by looking in your eyes. Now I'm drifting through wreckage under empty open sky. hardest part would be the shouting in the fire, the breaking of the porcelain, the snapping of the wire. But it's the quiet in the hallway that is tearing me apart. The velvet weight of nothingness pressing on my heart. The toothbrush on the counter, the silence in the air, the way the light hits the corner of your empty wooden chair. I can handle the anger, I can handle the ghosts, but it's the hollow space beside me that kills me the most. I go to bed early just to make the daylight end, but the shadows in the bedroom are a cold and bitter friend. I find your hair on the pillow, I find your scent on the sheet, a haunting little victory in the middle of defeat. The world is getting louder, trying to pull me from the floor, but I've been staring at the handle of a dead and silent door. Time isn't a healer, it's just a wide and open plain, where the lack of you is sharper than the presence of the pain. And they say that the vine is just a place where you can grow, but I'm just a root in the frozen, heavy snow. I'm leaning off the edge of everywhere that you go, praying for the silence to finally let me know. Your absence hurts the most, it's a deafening roar, the ghost of a world gone on a locked and bolted door. Yesterday I turned to tell you the part, the one where the hero finally follows his heart. And the air where you should be was so cold and so sad, it felt like a needle sinking under my skin. It's like the goodbye that's keeping you down, it's to not be here that's starting to drown every hip that I planted, every dream that I grew. The hardest part of living is the missing of you. Fill the room with lies, fill the room with light. I can't stand away the quiet bites. It's a hunger, it's a vacuum, it's the hole in the sky, it's the hole now that died before the goodbye. Give me the thunder, give me the rain, anything is better than this hollow point. Your absence hurts the most, it's a deafening roar, the ghost